Hey guys, how's it going? Let me just test and see if the audio's okay. It's been okay for a while. I haven't had the audio issues. Remember when I used to have audio issues all the time? Well, so much for Boomer Tech, we've moved on. I don't have audio issues anymore. Anyway, how are you guys? Hope you're well. I started today's stream quite a bit late, so I wonder who's going to be in here. I don't see any wrenches in here yet. Oh, Sandra's in here. I got one wrench, and she's first, so okay, that's good. I don't see Jay or Stephen Forex and Rainbow, I think, are both in the UK, I think. Stephen Forex is definitely in the UK. So I know it's really late there right now. So I'm trying to find that right balance to stream where it's like people in America are like out of work, but at the same time not too late for people in the UK, because some of my, hey, Steven's in here. Steven, you know I don't like military time. 23:43. I hate that so much. I hate it. Yeah, so I'm trying to find that right balance, but I have a feeling Steven, you and stuff are a little bit late nights. Little late night people. You guys stay up late, so yeah. Anyway, today is Alchemy stream. It is Inner Alchemy today. Yesterday was supposed to be Outer Alchemy, but I went out Tuesday evening, met up with the Twitter person, and I don't know. I'm getting too old to go out, so it just knocked me out, and I felt like I had to catch up and do shit yesterday. I was working on my websites. I have multiple websites, so check that out, guys. Normally I do a lot of work on my Lady Alchemy website, which is lady-alchemy.com. Haven't checked that in a while, edited that in a while, but that one's like pretty standard, pretty good. But I was working on my martinamarkota.com one because it was absolutely terrible before and needed to be updated. So check it out, martinamarkota.com. I know there's probably some mistakes. I think Rainbow pointed some things out to me, but you know, it's a lot of work. Even with like easy bullshit, stuff that's supposed to be easy, like Wix. Fucking sometimes that shit makes it more retarded. Anyway, Sandra said, I am back, damn internet. Yes, I am Boomer. Same, Sandra, same. Anyway, so yeah, I was like trying to get some stuff done, and we also have to get working on this comic book, but I've been talking to Weldon, and guess what he's doing? He is storyboarding the entire story before he draws anything, which is literally what I asked my artist to do a year late. Was like, let's storyboard this, and they were telling me that's not the way it works. And so look, it is the way it works, because my new artist is storyboarding the entire thing, so we know exactly what we're dealing with, and we can just smooth sailing after the storyboard. So anyway, let's get into it. Since I've been taking this week has been terrible for me with streaming, and I have taken a few days off, which I cannot afford. Okay, it's not like I make good money and I can just be taking days off. So I'm going to make up for it by streaming through the weekend, which is what I do not normally do. So we'll play a little bit of catch up and see what happens. But I will stream Friday and Saturday. Push all the way through. Sunday again, etiquette, Monday, Tuesday. So we'll see. Anyway. So let's see where we are at with alchemy today. So what we have up here, I don't have any subcategories today, but we are going to be talking about transmutation, okay? And if you know anything about alchemy, you have probably heard the word in conjunction with alchemy. You've probably heard the word transmutation, and we're going to talk about that. It's very exciting stuff. Okay. But like I said, I have these resources. I'll put the link in the description. But I go to these Gnostic teachings, and they have some open resource material, and I use that for the inner alchemy for a little bit for now, and then we're gonna move on to like other sources. But I'm liking the first few lectures on alchemy that they have, so we'll see what else I can find. But we are finally moving on from the elements. But we're never really moving on from the elements, because the more we get into this alchemy stuff, you'll see how ingrained the elements are, like the archetype of all the elements are in this, which is why it's like one of the first things you study, and it's the foundation. And when we talk about base, when we talk about basic, we're not talking about something like unimportant. We're talking about a foundation, something like a foundation of a house, So if you don't have a good foundation of a house, if you don't have a good base, then you can't build a good house from there. So that the word base or basic doesn't mean it's not important. It just means it's super important, and it's the foundation. Okay. Oh, also, just a reminder, I noticed, but I have down here pretty much 60%. So that's doing pretty good. Hopefully I stream throughout the weekend and I can get back to schedule. But by the end of the week, I want to hit 75% to stay on track. So 75% by the end of the week. So, all right, we can do like 65 today. If you want to help me out, get to 65 to hit my goal, you can go to, ooh, shoot, that is not looking good. Let me fix this. Hold on. Yeah, you can go, hold on. Gotta bring this Streamlabs link up a bit. Sorry, I was just fixing this link a little bit so you can read it better. But yeah, if you want to help me get to maybe 65 today, thank you. We can just go to streamlabs.com/Martina Markota TV. Okay. Anyway, now that I did that shilling, let's check it out, shall we? Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for that. Good night, Sandra. Nice seeing you. Nice seeing you. Okay. So what do we have here? Transmutation. Continuing with the theme that we established in the previous lectures for us about the elements in our spiritual growth, we will advance our understanding of those elements and see how they apply to practical use. In every spiritual tradition, we talk about basic elements that are material and energetic, but we know that every manifested thing is a trinity of matter, energy, and consciousness. Right on cue is my radiator. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but right on cue is the radiator. Anyway, in every spiritual tradition, we talk about the basic elements that are material and energetic, but since we know that everything is a trinity of matter, energy, and consciousness, then we have to understand that the basic elements are also elements of consciousness, not just matter and energy. The four primary elements, air, fire, water, earth, make up everything that we are on every level. The important question, and again, when we talk about these four elements, we talk about like everything associated to them, like their archetype, that like, same energy kind of thing. So it's not always like that we're made up literally of those four elements, but kind of like things that make up those four elements. The important question we need to answer practically in our lives is how the four elements relate to the fifth element. How are we working with the fifth element? That is what we talked about in the previous lecture. The fifth element, literally the quintessence, relates to the Akash, the ether. So remember, Akash is the inner self, that ether, that inner voice, the spirit. In Sanskrit terms, we can also say it is the Kundalini. It is the Prakriti, the root energy, that some religions is symbolized as the Divine Mother. And when we talk about root energy too, that's the sexual chakra, the base chakra. So we talk about sexual energy, and it's kind of like this, also like the elements, it represents something when we talk about sexual energy. We're not talking about lust or something like that. It's like this energy, this root chakra. I mean, from everything is like a seed, a seed. Like sex has like seeds and fluids and stuff like that. So that's kind of what it symbolizes when we talk about the sexual energy, is that like energy that creates life. The Divine Mother is that creative force or intelligence in nature that gives life to everything. See, if we want spiritual life, we need to know our Divine Mother. Her active agent is the quintessence, which is an energy in us. We need that energy to be active, and right now it is not. In us, it is passive, latent. What in science we could call static, not kinetic energy. The method to awaken that energy, to activate it, has been hidden in every religion and mystery tradition. In the West, it is most famously known in the tradition we call alchemy. Ooh, Fox Mulder, $20. Thanks, Fox Mulder. Let me see if you have a comment for that. Hold on. Does the fifth element look like Mila Jovovich? Yeah, man. I would say yes. Okay? Hells yeah. Love that. Oh, that was Fuck Google too. Asked that. He gave $5 and asked that. Oh, that was Fuck Google too. Hey, what's up? Let me see. Fox Mulder just gave 20 just because. Thanks, man. Thank you. Let's see. Yay, that brings us to 61.33 repeated, I probably believe, percent. So 61.3 repeated percent. Thank you. Yay. Let's get that to maybe 65. 65? Okay, the method to awaken that energy, to activate it, has been hidden in every religion and mystical tradition. In the West, it is most famously known in the tradition we call alchemy. Yay! The entire tradition of alchemy is a symbolic presentation of a practical science. Alchemy hides the knowledge of how to elaborate the full potent potential of the human being, which is hidden in all of our atoms and cells. To do that, we need to know about transmutation. Transmutation, yeah. This word transmutation gets utilized a lot in esoteric traditions, but it appears as if it utilized without much knowledge of the word, of what the word really means. So it is important that we analyze this word and understand what it means, where it comes from, and what it implies. The word transmutation came into use because of the tradition of alchemy, and it is derived from Latin roots. The implications of the word transmutation are far beyond what most esoteric traditions attribute to it. Trans means thoroughly, okay, and mature means change. Mutare. Sorry, not mature. It's mutare. Transmutare. Huh. Okay, so trans is thoroughly, and then mutare means change. To transmute means to completely change something. In the modern Gnostic movement, for example, most students use the word transmutation exclusively in relation to sexual energy, which is a valid use of the word, but it is not its full meaning, and it is not the original use. The word transmutation originally applied to the entire being, to everything about us. Really, to transmute comes from that famous phrase from alchemy, to transmute lead to gold. It means to purge the lead, which is a dense, heavy, and impure metal, and reduce it to its quintessence, in other words, to reduce it to its most basic components that originally made it, and from that, to perfect it. Everything that exists is constructed out of the basic elements that we applied in the previous lecture, the 4 elements. First, the akash, or ether, and that becomes particularized into air, fire, water, and earth. Those 4 basic elements, which are physical, energetic, and conscious, become everything that exists. Everything that we are is made of 4 elements arranged and particularized into particular sequences. Physically, we call this encoding DNA, which is not merely physical chemicals, but also encodes energetic and spiritual data as combinations of elements. Those elements are physically sequenced in series combinations of molecules and are arranged in infinite combinations to create everything that we are. Those sequences of 4 are reflections of 4 elements. Similarly, the 4 subtle elements are reflected in the 4 basic components of physical matter. For the most comprehensive and lucid exposition of occult pneumatology, the branch of philosophy dealing with spiritual substances, what is this? I don't know. Oh, Manly P. Hall, Secret Teachings of All Ages. I have a really, really cool old book of this, with like pull-out pages and all these graphics. It's so cool. Love that. Cool. Okay, hold on one second. Just checking in on you guys. Alright. Stephen Park says, I have that book. It's huge, like IKEA catalog, huge. Let's stumble through again. These old texts get a little difficult for me, but let's see. And also the makeup powder is messing with my nose again. I should really get tissue, not paper towel. This is too rough for the nose. For the most comprehensive and lucid exposition of occult pneumatology, the branch of philosophy dealing with spiritual substances, extant mankind is indebted to Philippus Aurelius Paracelsus. Okay, so mankind is indebted to Paracelsus, prince of alchemists and hermetic philosophers, and true possessor of the royal secrets, the philosopher's stone and the elixir of life. Paracelsus believed that each of the four primary elements known to the ancients, earth, fire, air, and water, consisted of subtle vaporous principle and gross corporal substance. Air is therefore twofold in nature: tangible, atmosphere, and intangible, volatile substratum, which may be termed spiritual air. Fire is visible and invisible, discernible and indiscernible, a spiritual ethereal flame manifesting through a material substantial flame. Carrying the analogy further, water consists of a dense fluid and a potential essence of a fluidic nature. Earth has likewise two essential parts, the lower being fixed, terreous, and mobile, the higher, rarefield, mobile, and virtual. The general term elements has been applied to the lower or physical phases of the four primary principles, and the name elemental essence to their corresponding invisible and spiritual constitutions. Minerals, plants, animals, and men live in a world composed of the gross side of these four elements, and the various combinations of them construct their living organisms. Henry Drummond, in Natural Law and the Spiritual World, describes this process as follows. If we analyze this material point at which all life starts, we shall find it to consist of a clear, structureless, jelly-like substance resembling albumin or white of an egg. It is made of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Its name is protoplasm, and it is not only the structural unit in which all living bodies start in life, but with which they are subsequently built up. Protoplasm, says Huxley, simple or nucleated is the formal basis of all life. It is the clay of the potter. The water element of the ancient philosophers has been metamorphosized into the hydrogen of modern science. The air has become oxygen, the fire nitrogen, the earth carbon. Manly P. Hall, Secret Teachings of All Ages. For us to become something new, we need to, For us to become something new, we need to unzip the sequence that makes us who we are and reconnect it in a superior way. But how are you going to arrange everything about yourself and rearrange it, especially when you are the one trying to do it? It's not easy, but this is what to transmute really means. It means to thoroughly change. Gnosis is a science of transmutation. Yes, it begins with sexual energy. That is the root energy that makes the full and complete transmutation possible. So basically making that happen, that like living energy. But we do not seek to only transmute sexual energy. We want to transmute all of our matter and all of our consciousness, our psyche, our soul, everything. We want to thoroughly change, to transmute. Interestingly, the result of that transmutation is a mutant. A mutant is someone who is different, who is changed. This word mutant has a negative connotation nowadays, but in reality, every existing creature is a mutation, a mutant. What we want is a conscious mutation, a change for the better. We want to change towards something beneficial and positive, something useful, something that will bring harmony and peace, not discord and violence. We want a change that will bring about goodness, equality, harmony, love. For that type of change, we want to thoroughly change the causes of discord. Discord. The causes of suffering, and the causes are within us, in our matter, our energy, and our consciousness. Let me just check in on you guys. The stream keeps stopping. I don't know, Dan. Maybe it's your end because it says that my stream health is really good. Or Douglas, sorry. Douglas. A genuine transmutation requires that the causes or the origins of problems and pain, suffering, are changed thoroughly so that new effects can emerge. That change is not easy. If you consider how anything in nature changes, fundamentally changes, it's a process of birth, growth, decline, death, rebirth, growth, decline, and death. This is how evolution advances, through small mutations over time. If you have ever studied biology or evolution, you can see that this is how species grow. They grow because of the pressure put on them by their environment. They change and they adapt and hopefully improve. We need the same thing. Unfortunately, we are not responding properly to the pressures that are upon us. In response to the psychological, material, social, and physical pressures that are on us now, we are not mutating ourselves properly. If we were, we would be transcending the problems. We would be adapting and overcoming them so that they would not be problems anymore. Instead, we see that the problems are deepening and we are not changing fast enough and in the right way. We need to know how to do it, how to transmute. Samuel on or says, no one can self-realize without transmutation. Tarot and the Kabbalah. In this context, he was not talking about sexual transmutation. He was talking about the transmutation of the psyche, the mind, the earth, and the body to change thoroughly. Stated in another way, you can transmute your sexual energy, but if you do not transmute your mind, you will not self-realize. When we study the Tree of Life, our primary interest is how it applies to us here and now. The Tree of Life maps all of the levels of existence, but those levels of existence are meaningless if we cannot access them. Studying and memorizing scriptures and teachings mean nothing if we cannot experience what they point towards. We need to examine this Tree of Life in relation with ourselves, and to understand that these 10 Sephiroth relate to levels of being within us. Here on this graphic, we see not only our physical state, but our psychological state. So this image, while we see a physical body to remind us that this relates to us here and now, really all these spheres or levels show our levels of psychology. Symbolized here are two divisions, two sides. The superior part is related to the heavens or superior aspects of being, so the as above. The inferior part, as below, as above, so below. So as above, and then the inferior, so below. The inferior part that hangs below is called Kliptoth, or hell, and this aspect relates to the inferior or inverted aspects of our psyche. Everything on this map is composed of elements: air, fire, water, and earth. All of this is suspended in or supported by the Akash, our inner self, our breath, our spirit, our true selves. Okay, Dan's out of here. He's got to go. I was hoping to get your thoughts on this question. What mathematical designation would you ascribe to Akash? 1 or 0? I'll try to watch the rest of the stream later. Shit. That's a really good question. I would say 0. Yeah. Because, like, the circle just represents something, like, from, like, the start and, like, everything. And, like, the quintessence is the circle with, like, a bunch of lines in it. I would say 0. God, my neck is killing me. When I stream, it must be me, like, lurching forward because my neck is killing me. Oh, God. I'm, like, turning into such an, like, dweeb. Oh, fuck. But if everything comes from Makash, it would make sense it comes from 1. Yeah, I mean, you know. I think it's more so my eyesight. I mean, yeah, my posture's not great, but, like, I think it's my eyesight because I'm trying to get really close. Fuck, my neck hurts. Anyway. Oh, wait, let me see. So in this context, if we use our imagination and we look at how this applies to us here and now, everything about us is encoded in elements. Here, physically, we can sense we can sense those physical aspects. Our physical body has an encoded series of elements which is reflected in our DNA, but as well, our entire psychological makeup is encoded in us. Our entire psychological makeup is also encoded in us. Sadly, we only hazily perceive it. We hazily perceive it as thoughts and feelings and certain types of sensations physically. But we do not perceive or comprehend that all of the thoughts, feelings, and impulses are driven by matter and energy that is not physical. This is a real problem that we have. Really open up your imagination and analyze yourself. Look at how you have a physical body here and now. This body is composed of a trinity of elements: matter, energy, and consciousness. The consciousness here is not awake. It is very asleep. But this is some degree of consciousness or perception. Thoughts, feelings, and other impulses are more subtle than physical matter, but still we can perceive that they have some level of manifestation. We can verify that they are there somehow. They also have matter, energy, and consciousness. So it's just kind of like reminding you to like be present and be conscious like of everything, and to like basically be meta, be like conscious of being conscious, or being conscious of your lack of consciousness rather, is I think what they're talking about. We can verify that they are there somehow. Thoughts, feelings, and other impulses are more subtle than physical matter, but still we can perceive that they have some level of manifestation. We can verify that they are there somehow. They also have matter, energy, and consciousness, but not in the physical dimension. Those thoughts that you sense and the feelings that you sense are modifications of consciousness that have matter and energy associated with them, but not physically. What we experience physically is their reflection, like light being bounced through a mirror. We have the mirror of our mind, which reflects the contents of our thoughts and feelings. But where are the thoughts? Where are the feelings? They are not in the brain, because you can experience thoughts and feelings when you are out of your body. So where are they? This is the problem we have. We do not know. The problem is compounded because we need to change, and rapidly. Otherwise, we are threatened with grave problems, and even worse problems than we have now. We need to transmute all of these psychological elements very quickly. How, if we cannot see them? If we cannot sense them, how can we change them? How can you work in the dark? How can a blind person create a piece of art if he cannot even see what he's doing? This is our fundamental challenge. Psychologically, spiritually, we are blind. How can we then create a perfect soul if we cannot see what we are doing? How can we transmute ourselves into something better if we cannot see who we really are? For this, we need help. We need to understand how these elements work, and in all of the levels of nature. So to remind you, these are the 5 elements: space, air, fire, water, earth. Space, quintessence, ether. All of these things are composed by these elements, understanding that we need to look at how these elements manifest in us. We need to analyze our psychology to see it for what it is. Let me remind you of the previous lecture. These elements do not refer to the literal physical aspects, they are psychological. So space is associated to expansiveness, air is associated to mobility, fire is associated to temperature. So when they talk about temperament, you have it's associated to fire. Water is associated to fluidity, and earth is associated to solidity. In order to transmute yourself, you need to know what you are working with. You need to see yourself. You need to see how your mind and heart functions, how all of these sensations you experience flow. You need to see what part of your psyche are expansive, and what is the relative mobility of your thinking and feeling. What about its temperature, its fluidity, its solidity? In this way, you can analyze the elements that are involved. Okay, let me read that again. You need to see what part of your psyche are expansive, What is the relative mobility of your thinking and feeling? What about its temperature, its fluidity, and solidity? In this way, you can analyze the elements that are involved. You can understand how to manage the elements in your experiences psychologically. As we explained in the previous lecture, we get help with that process through what we call ordeals, psychological challenges. Do you guys remember the ordeals? That are given to us by our innermost through our psychological trainer, who represents us with scenarios designated to bring out those parts of ourselves that we need to work on. If we are not prepared to see it, we will respond poorly, the way that we have been doing previously, and we will make our situations worse. If we are not psychologically trained to watch ourselves and look out for the patterns in our psychology, we will not see what is really happening, and we will make mistakes. Now, I don't know if you guys are like really paying attention and can understand what it is that I'm reading, but this totally makes sense, and I think we've touched on this before, but it's like when you are put into a situation, you are dealing with trials and tribulations and situations in life, it's about how you respond to it. And so that is what they're talking about when they say that, like, if, how we use these elements, these, like, aspects of mobility, temperature, fluidity, like whatever, solidity, and like we know how to maneuver and use them to our advantage when we're facing problems, because these are psychological things, not physical things, and if we know how to identify situations and apply these sorts of understandings with these like elements psychologically, that is us growing and us becoming better souls. But sometimes if we're not prepared, we don't handle that situation the best way. So let's say there's something that is testing our temperament, it's like fire, and you're adding more fire to it because your temperament and your rage is going and you're acting more, like having more fire, and usually that's not really the best way to handle things, but you can't help it if you're emotionally involved in something. You're emotionally, it's taking you and you're just reacting with this element, and you're adding more fire to it. But if you're able to understand what's happening in your situation and apply it to this kind of principle, you can know how to bring fluidity into the situation, or solidity, or whatever, how you can just like maneuver that situation. And it tends to be a better technique in handling life. And those are those tests, those are those ordeals. And when you're prepared and you're ready, you will see the ordeal, and it will be difficult. This is not like an easy test of like something like bullshit. It's like you will have something in your life that will test you, and it is how you act and how you respond to that situation. And alchemy can help you if you understand how to recognize these things. Okay, so I'm just catching into your comments. I'm just staring into dead space. Sorry. Okay, yeah, sorry, Dan. I gotta get to your messages. I just get really, like, weird sometimes about, like, responding and DMs and stuff, so sometimes I ignore or whatever. But, sorry about that. I'll check it out. And I'm sorry if you're disappointed by the answer, but like you said, you knew you'd be disappointed no matter which one it would be. But to me, I think 0. But I mean, I don't have all the answers, so Anyway, let's see where we're at. 48 minutes in, so I'm gonna need my bathroom break in a few. but yeah, so are we following with what's happening here? And it's basically recognizing when you're going through these psychological challenges brought to you, these ordeals, and if you're not ready to handle this stuff, you will not make the right choices. When you enter into this type of work and the process of starting to transmute yourself, you are given challenges, opportunities to see yourself as you are. And the most opportunities will come every day. If you are really attentive, you will find that those opportunities are continually arising all the time. We do not call them opportunities physically. We call them adversities, problems, suffering. We have all of our complaints. We have an old psychological habit that is a very serious obstacle in this type of study, this type of work. That is the habit of self-esteem. It's an old habit that thinks we deserve things that we do not deserve, and that wants things to be ideal, the way that we want it. And we get very frustrated and upset when things do not go that way, or the way that we expect. I'm curious, what percentage of people listening to the lecture today are very disappointed they did not win the lottery last night? I would like to find that out, but I do not think anyone would tell me. We all have this self-esteem, and it is in direct conflict with the innermost, with the being, because this self-esteem is the ego. The being wants the ego dead, dissolved, transmuted. So the being, our innermost, wants the ego totally transmuted, like gone. That's what this whole work is about. Wait, but we do not want to transmute it? We want things the way we want them. Oh, right. So they're saying, like, when you have an ego, you don't want to transmute it. You want things the way that you want it. And when we do not get the things that we want the way we want them, what do? We complain. We complain in our mind, and we complain with our mouth. Many of us complain all the time. Pretty accurate. That is a sign, a very significant sign, that we are not transmuting. Another word for transmutation is transformation. We use that in a very important phrase in this teaching, the transformation of impressions. Someone who is transforming impressions has serenity, acceptance. In other words, they have no complaints. So if we have a lot of complaints, we need to analyze the desires that are complaining. The complaining pride, the lust, the envy, the greed, the gluttony, the fear, the avarice, the laziness, all of those egos. And we need to analyze them in relation with the elements, space, air, fire, water, and earth, to understand how they are made, how they work, how they function. In this work, we need to learn to not just go with the flow with our psychological river, but to fight it. The psychological river of our minds is flowing into hell. It is not taking us to God. To reach God, divinity, purity, you have to fight against everything that comes up in yourself that is impure, that is selfish, that fight is not easy. I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, you gotta look deep down and look at yourself and be true about yourself and really analyze those things that are hard to see. And when we are not in really trying to face that, we can get into problems, and we can get into laziness and greed and envy and all that stuff, and it just takes you down this downward path to hell, not towards God. And to reach God, you need to fight against everything that comes up that is impure and selfish. And it's really, really tough to fight that urge to be selfish and feed your ego. But that's what it's all about. It's all about that discipline and inner strength. When they talk about inner strength, that kind of stuff, it's very, very hard to. And I think that's why certain things like sports, or even things about the military at times, or religion, things like in religion or whatever, when they have certain traditions and it's like kind of strict. It's just kind of like getting you used to this habit of doing stuff that isn't necessarily fun, but after time, this discipline makes you a better person. Getting up, making your bed every day, learning how to do, running every day, or getting some exercise, like eating properly. Like, all of these things are disciplines, and they are difficult to do, but over time, there is a general benefit. And that's where religion teaches you to have that discipline. Anyway, let me see where we're at. 53 minutes in. This is the picture of the 4 ordeals. You'll see that the guy holding the club over his head is fighting these 4 other guys, but you'll notice, see his face, it's all the same guy. It's himself in different forms, in the form of the 4 ordeals and the 4 elements. That's why someone has fire coming from their hands, or wind from their hands, or stuff like that. So those are the 4 ordeals. The 4 elements are the basic tools that our psychological trainer uses in order to show us ourselves, to show us what we're made of, literally, what we as a psyche are made of, not physically, psychologically. The physical part is impertinent and irrelevant. Spiritually speaking, we have had so many physical bodies in the past and may have more in the future. Thus, in the long-term perspective, the physical part is not as important as the psychological part, because the psychological part lasts and is the determining factor as to whether we get more physical bodies and what kind and in what circumstance. Focusing on physicality is foolish. Focusing on psychology is wise. In the psychological point of view, what are we made of? We are made of these elements in different combinations, but unfortunately corrupted with desire. In order to transmute these elements, we have to break them down. Imagine if you were a weaver and you got really drunk and wove something using all your good cloth, your good fibers and materials. Then you sobered up and realized that what you wove was a complete disaster that wouldn't do anybody any good. In fact, it was a waste of all that material. But it was the only material that you had, and you need clothes. So what do? You have to take it apart. You have to go back to zero. You have to be naked again and start again. We need to do that psychologically. We need to strip our identity completely. This self-esteem has to die. We have to renounce everything except God. To only hold fast to divinity, nothing else. This is the only way that you can fully and completely transmute. Remember, transmute means to thoroughly change, thoroughly, not partially, thoroughly from the ground up, from zero. It is the only way to build something up properly. See, again, this is why I think the Akash is zero. So I hope you're listening, Dan, because they keep mentioning zero in here. And that is nothing. To transmute, it has to be completely different. So I think zero is Akash. This is why that Jesus told us that we need a new wineskin. No man putteth a piece of a new garment upon an old. If otherwise, then both the new maketh a rent, and the piece that was taken out of the new agreeth not with the old. And no man putteth new wine into old bottles, else the new wine will burst the bottles and be spilled, and the bottles shall perish. But new wine must be put into new bottles, and both are preserved. Jesus in Luke 5. We need a new garment, a new mind, a new heart, a new body. That transmutation comes from these elements. So we are tested every day, constantly, by our trainer through these elements to put things out psychologically so we will see them for what they are. This is not for fun or games or just to punish us and humiliate us. It is to make us suffer just because we deserve it. It is not to make us suffer just because we deserve it. It is to help us. It is the medicine we need. We are sick. To be healed, we need a a very profound surgery, very deep, very painful. It is not easy. It is not easy to die psychologically. It is not pleasant. It is not something you will enjoy. You will be in pain. You will cry. You will have regret. You will have remorse. You will be ashamed of yourself, and you should be. Don't avoid it. Embrace it. Yet do not attach to it. Look squarely at the facts, accept them, and then change. This is how you become spiritually mature. You do not avoid the facts. You look at them in the face, you see them for what they are, and you change them thoroughly. Damn. 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 That's pretty deep. So on that, I'm going to have to take a break. But we will continue on this conversation about transmutation. Okay? So don't go anywhere. I see you guys in here. We have 39 people. Van Dam. We have 39 people. Don't go anywhere. Having a short little break, a little commercial break. And probably gonna have a glass of water with lemon juice in it. Go to the bathroom. Okay. Commercial time. I think this is the right one. No? Maybe. Hold on. So bad at this. Okay, yeah. Doing this one. See you guys in a few minutes. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. And if you're just waiting around and you're bored for me, you can always help me get to 65 by going to streamlabs.com/Martina Markota TV. Damn. Commercial over already. That, I feel like it just flew right by. Damn. Oh, my neck is still killing me. Anyway, my neck is killing me. Where are we at? So we're in this thing. Let's just like take a look. Mark off where we are right here. Jesus quote. Okay. Jesus quote right there. Let's see what we're working with today. More biblical quotes. The light of the moon. Oh, the light of Mercury, the light of Venus, the light of the sun. The light of Mars, the light of Jupiter. Oh, wow. The light of Saturn. How I experience the seven lights. So this corresponds to the Kabbalistic tree of life, which is why they do that often here. Questions and answers. Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a 2-day topic. Damn. Oh, hold on. I have to put my sign on the door that I'm live. Hold on. Live. Live again. Sorry about that. Let's get back up here. Truck is backing up too. Hello, people. Some people are coming in here. Oh, oops. I forgot to bring the screen around to show you what I was doing, and you didn't see any of that. Oh, well. You didn't see any of it. I was showing you guys what we are working with. But whatever. So, yeah, we need a new garment. And that we look at the facts in the face and see them for what they are, and do change them thoroughly. When you're getting your psychological challenges every day, when you are getting your psychological challenges every day, look them square in the face, accept them, accept responsibility for yourself, do not blame others. Do not blame God. Accept it. Look at it and say, I deserve this. I created this. Now I'm going to change it. This is what a master comes from. Everybody wonders, how do the masters become so beautiful? How do they become so humble, so pure? Because they are honest. That's how. Because they are honest. They do not avoid the facts. They work hard to change, to become worthy of reflecting God. The way that this is done is through the fifth element. Everything that we are is constructed of these basic elements. So our pride, for example, is constructed of the 4 elements. The humility of an angel is constructed from the same elements that your pride is made from. Isn't that odd? It's constructed of the same light, but arranged differently. The pride of an angel, that element, that light, that has to do with the virtue of esteem or self-nature. It is not corrupted by desire, whereas ours is corrupted. What we call pride is a modified light that comes from the sun. It is the same light that shines in an angel, but in an angel it shines as humility. It's the same light, but in us. It is modified, corrupted. What shines in the psychological component is the quintessence. But in us, it is impure. In an angel, it is a master. It is pure. The word quintessence comes from the root word, which means to be. Esse, to be. Sanskrit asmi, emi, what is this? Got goth in there. What do I have? Goth. Okay, basically, I am. The quintessence hidden in each element within us is the being, the light of the being that shines through any psychological element. Everything we are as a psyche is the light of the being, but in us that light is trapped in corruption. If you want that light to shine pure, you need to break apart that lens and reform it to make it perfectly clean. This is the basic science of alchemy, to purge the metals and make them pure. We would remove the word metals and instead use crystals or lenses, and it would mean the same thing. The quintessence is that light. What in Hebrew is called Shekinah, the light of the Divine Mother. That light shines through everything that we are, psychologically and physically. It shines as all of those elements arranged in all those different patterns that make up all the different people and things and plants and animals and minerals and everything that exists. Everything that is light but modified. What we are as a person is a huge complication of all those lights. We do not see the lights for what they are. We need to analyze ourselves physically, energetically, emotionally, intellectually, and consciously. This graphic shows the basic psyche that we can perceive here and now if we look. All of these psychological elements that we can perceive here now are related to other forms of matter. Physically, we perceive our physical body. If you pay attention, you will recognize that this physical body has energy that allows it to be active and move, and energy of digestion, of the circulation of blood, and the energy that flows through the muscles and the senses and nerves. Yeah, so when they talk about like the sexual energy too, this is over here Malkut, which means kingdom in Hebrew, and that's at the bottom, the root chakra, the sexual chakra, and that's the physical body. So it's the root, the physical, but it's at the lowest too. So it's a good place to start. It's in the third dimension, but it's not the most important source of light energy. It goes higher and goes up towards Kether, the crown, up towards God. We also have energy that flows through the psyche that let us have imagination and memory and thought, feeling. All of those energies are related with the vital body. What in the Tree of Life is called Yasad, foundation. The vital body reflects the contents of thought, emotion, and will into the physical body. Yeah, so also this is associated to, you see how there's like 4. Let me make sure you guys can see. Yeah, you can't see my cursor though, so unfortunately. So where it says at the bottom, the Malkut, the physical body in the third dimension, that is what is physical. What element is associated with the physical body? So you guys paying attention when we talk here. So what element do you think the bottom, the Malkut, is? The physical body. Because you see how it's separated into 4 things. So what's that bottom one? Can you tell me, guys? Anyone? I'll wait. Give me an element. Malkut. Kingdom. Physical body. Sexual chakra. What element? Hint. Physical body. Physical world. Material. Solid body. Earth. Okay, thank you, infinity. Thank you. Yeah, Malkut is Earth. So when they were talking about Yasad and they were talking about the fountain and fluidity, what element do you think that is? So we work our way up. And there's the different elements associated So let's see. Foundation. The vital body reflects the contents of thought, emotion, again, water, emotions, and will into, and it reflects that into the physical body. Everything we perceive physically is reflected either through the 5 physical senses or through the internal senses that we perceive inside. The vital body reflects those contents into our brain, into our heart. This is important to understand so that we have a clear perspective on how to analyze ourselves. When we are feeling emotions, those emotions do not originate in the physical body. They are not just imaginary. They are reflected forms of light. They are light that we feel and sense emotionally in the physical body, but it is being reflected to the physical body from our astral body through the vital body. The light of emotion originates in the astral body. That means that if we are feeling a negative emotion full of comprehension and elimination of that defect is only possible by working on it at that level with the astral body in the 5th dimension where it's originated. But how many of us have clairvoyance? How many of us are awake in the astral plane in the 5th dimension to work on that discursive negative emotion? None of us. We are asleep. Moreover, when we sleep at night, we are dreaming with those emotions. We do not remember them when we come back to our body. So our trainer has no choice but to give us ordeals in the physical world so that we can see and experience what is happening in that astral body, so that it is reflected here physically, so that it can come up and we will work on it internally, consciously. We are asleep and enslaved. So to help us, our trainer gives us ordeals. Our trainer puts us in circumstances where we feel those emotions so that our consciousness, our willpower, can see it, and we can respond consciously, not mechanically, but can comprehend and free itself. This is why we have ordeals. We have them. We do not complain. Do not complain about your problems. Learn from them. They are your path to liberation. Now, this is really important because if that made any sense to you guys with me reading, it's, again, coming face to face with problems. And I know it sounds like a bunch of like new age bullshit, but if you just stop and kind of think about it, it's actually really good advice, because it's like, I know it sounds like bullshit when you're faced with something. You're like, okay, Martina, whatever, don't give me your alchemy bullshit. We're not coming face to face with some problem to learn because we're on this path of alchemy. But if you think about it, it is true. Like every little thing. I mean, even like losing your keys and you're frustrated and that emotion is building and you're getting angry. Look at every moment, big or small, as an opportunity to perfect yourself by controlling your emotions and learning how to deal with it and learn something about yourself. Maybe that thing you have to learn about yourself is that you're impatient and that you are mindless when you are putting your keys home, when you get home or something. Like everything is an opportunity to actually make us better. So this advice isn't as cringe when you like actually think about it and you apply it to your own personal life. And that's why all these things are kind of like strange and kind of hard to really like digest by just reading it. And you have to like stop and think about it and apply it. You have to adapt it. You have to apply it to your own personal life. And it kind of does make sense. And it makes sense overall how to handle life situations. Oh my god, I'm talking about Mother Goddess. Okay. Hour and 18 minutes in. Still got a little bit more to go, Jay. No worries. But did you guys get my little spiel? Are we on the same page here about handling our ordeals and how this stuff can sound kind of like hogwash, but it actually like is pretty good advice if you think about it with those like little situations and big situations and how to handle yourself and perfect yourself by coming face to face with like your ordeals and situations that go on in life. You guys are not very talkative. Okay. Sure. Alright, I'll go back and start reading again. It's all so tiresome. Hi, Martina. Good to see you. Good to see you, too. I love that. It's all so tiresome. No, I don't think it all sounds like hogwash. I think it can seems like hogwash if you don't like apply it to yourself. But if you apply it to yourself, it's not bad advice. It's not bad concepts. Like, you become very self-aware when you think about being self-aware, especially in moments that will try you emotionally. So I think it's pretty good advice to remember to be self-aware in important situations where your emotions are going crazy. So, I mean, maybe it's hogwash, but that ain't bad advice. You know what I mean? Not bad advice. Hogwash, what a word, Jay. What? No one says that word? Hogwash. Is that... Am I, like, dating myself? Okay, let's go back into it. Oh, Fox Mulder says that he's listening while doing other things, so he can't always respond, but he's paying attention. Thanks for that. I appreciate letting me know that. Well, it's good advice, but it sometimes sounds like since it's impractical. I mean, it's difficult, and that's what they said. They said it was going to be difficult. Jay says, put a bunch of hogwash. Anyway, we'll get back to it. Let's get back to it. Where are we? There, your path to liberation. In several places of the Bible, it states very clearly, for whom... what? Some Hebrew. What is this? For whom loveth he correcteth, even as the Father the Son, in whom he delighteth. So basically, like, when you love someone, you correct them, like, even as the Father the Son, in whom he delighteth. The chastisement or ordeals are given as help to help us and aid us. Otherwise, we will not see who we are and what is stopping us from reaching God. Yeah, that's another point, too, is that they're talking about also just, like, not only reacting, like, consciously, as in with God and, like, responding, like, with that godly light, but not just being on, like, autopilot. Like, that's the worst thing ever, and that's what alchemy does, is, like, helps you not be on autopilot all the time. And you just, like, respond. Like, who's in control, really, if you can't control your emotions? And, you know, you just have no control over you or your emotions. Like, who is in control? Are you? You guys are talking about hogwashing. Okay. So this applies to all of our emotions, all of our thoughts, all of our problems, all of our situations, all of our circumstances. Everything that's bothering us or that we think is limiting us or is a problem for us is actually something we need to take advantage of. That is why Samuel on War said, we must learn how to take advantage of the worst adversities. Adversities. We must learn how to take advantage of the worst adversities. The worst adversities bring us the best opportunities. We must learn to smile before all adversities. Oh my God. People protest because of the difficulties that interaction offers them. They do not want to realize that those difficulties are precisely providing them with the necessary opportunities for the dissolution of their I. So again, think about that. People protest like they reject their adversities because of the difficulties that interaction offers them. They do not want to realize that those difficulties are precisely providing them with the necessary opportunities for the dissolution of their I. So all of these things provide you an opportunity to come face to face and destroy your ego. Every single problem in your life, I know it sounds stupid, but just think about it. Every single problem in your life is an opportunity for you to take advantage of by getting rid of your ego. So why are all the spiritual students, including the so-called Gnostics, looking for easy lives? Students are trying to win the lottery, longing to retire in the countryside and grow sunflowers, longing to retreat from their problems. Listen, if you have an easy, laid-back life, you will stagnate spiritually. You will rot. If you want to grow spiritually, you need to die psychologically. The only way you will do that is by seeing the garbage in your mind and in your heart. That is why we are given ordeals. During times of rigorous temptation, ordeals, discouragement, and desolation, one must appeal to the intimate remembering of the self. Deep within each one of us is the Aztec Tonantzin, Stella Maris, the Egyptian Isis, God the Mother, waiting for us in order to heal our painful hearts. When one gives to oneself the shock of self-remembering, then indeed a miraculous change, transmutation, in the entire work of the body is produced, so that the cells receive a different nourishment. That is why Samuel said, we can disintegrate our defects and dissolve the psychological I only by means of the science of transmutations. We can modify our errors, transmute the vile metals into pure gold, and command only by means of the science of transmutations. In the Gnostic Bible, the Pistis Sophia unveiled, he said, it is possible to crystallize the soul within ourselves by dissolving the animal ego. And this is why I think humans and animals are different. We're different. We need to dissolve the undesirable psychological elements in order to crystallize the soul within ourselves. We must convert ourselves into pure soul. With patience, you will possess your soul. This is possible based on consciousness work and voluntary sufferings. The souls of the people reside in a superior level of being. The soul is the conjunction of all of the forces, powers, virtues, essences, etc. that crystallize within us when the entire animal ego has been dissolved. Each time that a psychological defect is dissolved, a virtue, a power, etc. crystallizes within our interior. That's actually really cool. I'm gonna fucking tweet that today, right now. Because, think about that. Each time that our psychological defect is dissolved, a virtue, a power, etc. crystallizes within our interior. So, when you get rid of these flaws within yourself, what replaces it is better shit. So why not come face to face with your flaws? Address it, because then that shit makes you a better person. You become better. Just catching up with you guys. Okay, you guys are talking about like characters when you're writing and you're talking about working out a happy ending, because like I was working through the conversation backwards and I thought you guys were talking about happy endings like in a massage parlor, and I was like, what the fuck is going on in my chat? And then I got to the top bit where Isaacs is talking about being a writer and like working out a happy ending for the protagonist. Oh, that was weird. That was weird. Anyway, you guys are talking about something else. I'll get back to it. But yeah, I like that. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to copy that. The complete dissolution of all the defects implies the integral crystallization of the soul within ourselves. Same type of quote. If the water does not boil at 100 degrees, that which must be crystallized does not crystallize, and that which must be dissolved is not dissolved. Damn. In similar form, we say that it is necessary to pass through great emotional crisis in order to dissolve psychological defects and crystallize the soul. I like that. I like that. Yeah. Cool. Firstly, this is accomplished based on conscious work and voluntary suffering. Voluntary suffering means that we accept our suffering. We do not fight it in this sense of resisting it or denying it or trying to change our physical circumstances all of the time. Instead, we accept it. We do what we need to do in order to survive and care for our responsibilities, and that's enough. The rest of our effort should be focused on changing ourselves. Now that alone is like hugely beneficial to me too, because I am a worrywart. Oh my God, I stress about everything, and I need to learn how to relax and remind myself sometimes that it's okay. So when I would perform, I would do the same thing. I would just have so much anxiety before performance, thinking about everything that could go wrong, everything, and like stressing about everything. And I had to teach myself to calm down, because either way, like the show's gonna go on and I'm gonna perform and like it's gonna happen, and like me stressing doesn't change anything. So that's something that reminds me of reading this about not resisting things, to just accept it and do what needs to be done, and it'll come. The soul is the conjunction of all the powers, virtues, etc., and they crystallize within us when the animal ego has been dissolved. That is transmutation. Each construction in the psyche is made of the elements. We dissolve each ego in order to liberate the light in each of the elements that are there. Then, automatically, spontaneously, the light emerges as the soul. In other words, the quintessence is freed. From there is a great range of potential. What happens with that energy next depends on the nature of our path. But whatever the nature of that path, it will be positive since the light has been liberated. The other important point here is if the water does not boil at 100 degrees, that which must be crystallized does not crystallize, and that which must be dissolved does not dissolve. What is that water? Water is one of the elements. Where is the water in us? What water is it that must boil? Anybody know? Well, this is a sort of trick question, because everything about us is based on water. There is no exception. In the Hebrew letter are the 3 mother letters that we mentioned previously. So there's the intellectual, the superior and inferior part of the intellectual, and then there is the emotional at the heart. Yeah, so the intellectual is up in the brain, okay. And then the emotional is at the heart, the superior and inferior aspects of them. And then you have motor, instinctual, and sexual. The element of water is represented by the letter Mem. The element water and the letter Mem are related with the vital body. That is the lower Eden, or Mayim, in the book of Genesis. The Sephirah Yesod, the 9th sphere, is our creative waters from which we create everything, physically, spiritually, psychologically. Those are our creative waters, the waters of Genesis within us. From Yesod, the sexual organs, was made our earth, our physical body. The physical body is mostly water. Without it, we cannot live. The emotional body, astral body, is very strongly influenced by water. Our emotions are AC. The mental body is also constructed with the element of water. The causal body is made from waters. Water is in everything. Everything that exists depends on water, physically, energetically, and consciously. So when the water must boil, that means that our entire psyche must boil. What is the boiling? The problems, difficulties. When you study how physics work, when you study how nature works, you find that crystallization and dissolution are very closely related. The entire science of alchemy is based upon this understanding. This is why if you study any of the old alchemical texts, they always talk about the need to dissolve and coagulate or crystallize. The entire science of alchemy is based upon that. One short example is from the bosom book of George Ripley, circa 1476. The mingle with this white calx, dusty residue remaining after a mineral or metal has been calcinated or roasted. So you guys know, can you visualize what they talk about these minerals or things being like calcified? Because in the outer alchemy stream, those of you that catch all my streams and have caught that one, we actually went through some working on elixirs and spadrix and tinctures and shit, and we were talking about the plant matter and calcifying it and the actual process involved in doing that. So there we go. You see how the physical and the inner can kind of relate to this stuff, and how they kind of go hand in hand, and they have synergy, you know what I mean? Hold on, let me just check in on you guys here. Infinity, yeah, it's funny. Sometimes I get annoyed if you guys are not talking about what I'm talking about, but sometimes I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, you guys are like having a whole thing, and it's cool if you guys are making friends and chatting about shit, so that's kind of cool sometimes. Yes, Sabo, I saw your email. I'm really sorry about that. I am the slowest and worst person in the entire life. I promise I will get to it. Just keep bugging me. So please do not feel shy about continuing to bug me, because that is exactly what I need. Just keep bugging me. Okay? You're not being annoying. I need that in my life. Like, I set like 10 million alarms when I want to get up early. So it's not really good behavior. No, it's not Sabo from LA. I don't think so. I think this is like someone else. Brock Sampson in the house. I don't think I've ever seen that person. He said, read The Great Divorce. It will make more sense. Okay. I studied chemistry and make herbal medicines. Cool. Make herbal medicines these days. It makes sense to me. Oh, I'm glad. You should check out the Outer Alchemy streams as well. Those are super fun, actually. Yeah. Well, Jay, I am friends. Actually, I've known Sabo, the artist, not this Sabo. I've known Sabo, the artist, since like 2012 or 13 or something. I was looking out for other right-wing artists way back in the day. I was looking for these people. All right, let's get back into it. We got like 20 more minutes. Oh, but before we get into it, don't forget, if you want to help me out, and I really need you guys' help, because this is what I am, this is what I'm doing for work. So this is my job right now, and if you want to keep these streams going and you want to help support me, you can always help me reach my goal. By the end of the month, I need to hit this goal. But to stay on track today, maybe we can do like 65%, get me to 65%, and you can help me do that by going to streamlabs.com/Martina Markota TV. Thank you. All right, let's try to get through this quote from the 1476. It's so difficult. Okay, that radiator is really hot right now. I hope this shirt is clean. Oh God, mess. Then mingle with this white, dusty residue remaining after a mineral or metal has been calcinated or roasted. Okay, so this thing mingles with the fiery water and distill it with a strong fire, all of as before, and calcinate the earth again that remaineth in the bottom of the still, and then distill it again with a strong fire as before, and again calcinate it, and thus distill and calcinate it 7 times, until all the substance of the calx be lifted up by the limbic, and then thou hast the water of life rectified and made indeed spiritual. And so hast thou the 4 elements exalted in the virtue of their quintessence. This water will dissolve all bodies and putrefy them and purge them, and this is our mercury and our lunary, and whosoever thinketh there is any other water than this is an ignorant and a fool, and shall never be able to come to the effect. Harsh tie. Yeah, no, I love that. And again, if you guys are in the Outer Alchemy streams, this is what we went over last time, was the actual chemistry procedure to do something 7 times over and calcify and separate and combine, solve that coagula, and constantly calcify it until you're purifying it and recombine it. This is only one example of hundreds of writings like it. This excerpt explains that the process of purification and the elaboration of the quintessence is a process of dissolution and crystallization. For centuries, foolish people lacking initiation into the actual science read these things literally and thought they were talking about literal water, literal physical mercury, literal physical elements. That is wrong. These scriptures are about the psyche, the mind. The dissolution is psychological, and it is accomplished through ordeals, through analyzing and dissolving impurities in the mind. Symbolically, we analyze the elements of the mind as having 7 fundamental qualities related to these 7 lights that organize all things. The light of the moon. Let me catch. Yeah, totally, Brock Sampson. He says, also the diagram in the article is the same as the tree of life, which fits into the flower of life. Yeah, it's all fits together on top of itself. It's great. All right, let's get back into it. Got like 20 minutes. The light of the moon. In relation to the moon, which the bosom book of George Ripley calls our lunary, we have a light in our psyche, a psychological element that unfortunately we have corrupted. That light that the moon or Gabriel gives us freely, we have converted to avarice. Avarice? We have converted it into selfishness, attachment. That light should be altruism or generosity. In Western esotericism, we study 7 basic components of the psyche, 7 symbolic components, and it is interesting to me that these 7 begin with altruism. Because in Eastern traditions, if you study the paramitas, which are conscious attributes of, this is some like Vedic shit or whatever, Buddha or whatever, they also begin with generosity. Generosity is the first paramita. So both traditions agree without altruism, you cannot advance spiritually. You cannot create the soul. That is why Samuel Moore repeated many times, give and you shall be given. The more you give, the more you shall be given. But whoever gives nothing, even that which he has shall be given away from him. Whoever gives nothing, even that which he has, shall be taken away from him. Yeah, I don't know about this quote, because you know what? I give and I give and I give, and I don't get shit back. But you know what? You guys are very generous, so I can't say that I only just like give and no one gives me shit, because you guys are very generous. You give me shit. But I'm just saying in general, outside of like our little community and our like little situation here on the stream, is very exhausting, because I feel like people just take, especially sociopaths, they know how to just like suck your energy dry and financially. But yeah, I don't know. And then I see people that they don't get shit taken away from them. But whatever. Anyway, I'm moving on. Okay, complaining. See? Complaining. Learn something about yourself in these moments, people. Learn about me. It's always about looking at your own inner flaws and shit like that. And it's something that I do all the time. And I don't know if other people do it, but I'm always like wondering how flawed I am. Ooh, we have something going on. Fox Mulder, again, another 20 bucks. Thank you. Thank you, Fox Mulder. You're so sweet. You guys are the best. Let's see. I got a comment with it. Let's see. Brock Sampson says, the flower of life can also be found in a cross-section of our DNA. Amazing. Ever seen the video of the lunar wave? Cool. See, we have great conversations happening in the chat. This is why I love doing these types of streams and stuff. This is like good shit. No heliocentric model for this man here. Can't prove that the earth is flat, but it's interesting to see that the globe model flawed. It's like gardening. It's like gardening. You take something filthy and impure, like animal feces and dead animals, and you transform them into compost, which you use to grow plants, which are new life, food for us. Yeah, exactly, totally. Infinity says, I think you are analyzing it and not complaining. This is making you look for flaws in yourself instead of recognizing the absurdity of the statement. Not good in my opinion. Okay. So. Okay, bye, Steven. Good night. Good night. Yeah, have a good sleep. Thank you for being around. Do the best. I always think about you when I go on late. Okay, let's see. Oh, hold up. Yeah, Fox Mulder didn't say anything. Okay, cool. Okay. Let me just like chit chat with you guys for a few minutes. I've been reading for a while. My mouth is like, oh my god, I should probably drink some lemon water. But yeah, I can hang out with you guys for a few minutes. So, how's it going? What have we learned about today? Was it a good chat, or you know, is it okay listening to me read at times, and then we have like little breakdown chit chats? To go to the bathroom again so bad. How are you guys doing? Okay. Just waiting for some comments, some interaction with you guys. We have very strange numbers going on here. We have 63.3 repeated %. So we're doing all right. I'm good. I'm happy with that. Okay, let's see if you guys said anything. I had a good chat with myself here, writing novels on how I interpret what you read. Oh, that's great. I mean, because that's why I put the stuff up on the screen, so that you guys can, like, if some of you that you watch it like on like the TV, on the big screen or whatever, if you have a big monitor. Some of you guys watch it like on the phone, so you can't really see much. So that's why you have me reading and shit. But some of you guys have it up on a big screen or on a computer, and I like to put this up so my terrible reading, if you guys read it yourself and can interpret it differently. Some of my education classes, because I was studying to be a math teacher, I have taken education classes on top of math here and there, and one of them was about different modes of learning. And so some people are auditory, they like can understand through listening, so some people like to listen to these things. Some people are visual, so I like to put it up on the screen so they can read it themselves. Some people are experience things a certain ways, so that's why I try to stop and kind of relate it to a particular situation so that someone can kind of get into the narrative of what I'm saying, and then understand through experience from the narrative of what's going on. So there's different ways of learning. I like to put it up. All right, thanks, Fox Mulder. Bloomberg, more like Doomberg, am I right? I came late but enjoyed the articles that linked anywhere. Yeah, here, let me get a link. I should be having it in the description, but they have a lot of great stuff, so there you go. Link in the description. My eye placement suggests visual learner. Yes, I am visual. I have visual memory. Everything's visual. Sweet guys. Alright, yeah. Well, I'm about to get out of here soon too. Got like 8 more minutes. So you guys are cool. Those of you that are leaving, no offense taken. Thanks for saying bye. I'm glad to see you around. I think it was a pretty good chat. Pretty good chit chat. I will be around tomorrow. Is not usually a day I stream, like I said. But I want to like replace some missing days. What was the first day that was missing? Was etiquette, because it was Sunday and I was upstate and I got driven down here. So we have etiquette. I should write this down. I got a little like notepad stuff. I mean, we'll hash it out with you guys. A little chit chat. I think we went through a lot of interesting material. So we had Monday, I skipped, which is etiquette. And then we did Tuesday, because we did art history on the prehistoric stuff. Prehistory. And then Wednesday I skipped. And Wednesday is outer alchemy. So, yeah, and then today's Thursday. So yeah, I think it would make sense if tomorrow I do outer alchemy. That way it complements today. We go right into another alchemy session tomorrow. And then on Saturday, I can make up the etiquette day, which lends itself nicely for Monday. Which lends itself nicely for Sunday to do etiquette as well. So we'll have 2 days of alchemy, 2 days of etiquette, and then we'll go back into a normal pattern for Tuesday doing art history and stuff like that. Does that make sense, or am I talking to myself? I'm just writing shit. I'm a list maker. This is what I'm doing. Am I the only one not getting notifications on this channel? No, people say that all the time. So if you could please do me a favor and, just like, pretty much I'm going to be streaming every day. And be pretty consistent, but I try to get on around like 5, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm around every day. Infinity says, I like your alchemy streams especially because I like to hear what someone else, you in this case, thinks. Yeah, that's why I think they're really fun too. I mean, this kind of subject is fascinating, and that's why I love what my chat thinks too. I love having chats with you guys and when you guys contribute. And I think this is what like classes in universities are about. We read text material, we have conversations in class, we discuss it, we hear different opinions, we hear new things that we never heard before. So this is really exciting. This is what fighting the educational system is about, is just having our own education. This is our little place to chit chat about these kinds of things. Sometimes some of your interpretations springboard my thought process, and I find it very interesting. I love that. Thank you. That's the whole purpose of doing this. That's the whole point. Yeah. Yep. Love that. Oh my god. Bloomberg, Warren, what tribe are you from? Warren. The Slapaho Nation. Fox Mulder says, you're like the professor I always wanted but never got. Well, thank you. You guys are like the pupils that I always wanted and never got, because I was going to be a teacher. I was going to be a math teacher. Look at how everything just comes full circle. It's crazy. You need to enable chat on your Telegram. It's the next level, and new Twitter, higher level of interaction, charge membership, etc. Sufficiency is key. No one gives a shit about me. I turn notifications on. Thanks, Isaacs. I don't know how. Gwyneth Isaacs? I don't know how to say your name. Sorry. Done my physio, sore as the Dickens. Anyway, your answer from earlier got me thinking about inertia as an important part in understanding the difference between 0 and 1. Yeah, I also thought of you. I don't know if you were in the chat. I think you left at that point, but something in the conversation. So if you back it up to the point when you left, if you do decide to finish watching the stream, something came up where I brought you back up because they mentioned 0 with the Akash a lot. They kept saying 0 and nothingness, like complete 0. They mentioned 0 a few times within a few sentences in regard to getting to the higher self in the Akash. So I don't know, back it up. You can try to find that spot, but I'm sticking to what I said. My original statement was 0, but I'm open to hearing what you guys have to say as well. I love it. Maybe we'll get you on. We'll get you on the show or something. Okay, yeah, guys, last chance for any last comments. I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you, Sabo. He said, bless y'all. Don't forget to hit them Rogans up for Martina. What is that? FODCOM is in here. Nice to see you. You have interesting insight all around. I wish I had more time to stick to it. Thank you all for all you do. So cute. Thank you. It's so nice to see you. Just join Telegram. You may be interested in the book Symmetry, Causality, Mind. Ooh, that does sound really familiar. Hey, Nation State. Nice to see you. Hope y'all weren't too much trouble. No, I think it was a pretty chill day, Jay. Thanks. Rogans are likes. Oh, yes. Don't forget to hit those Rogans. And also don't forget to go to streamlabs.com/Martina Markota TV if you guys want to help me out at all. You can last few minutes to get me to 65%. But yeah, that was fun. We had some good insight. I guess we'll do outer alchemy tomorrow. So today's Today's Thursday, so we have Friday, February. It is not the 20th today. What is... Holy shit. Holy shit. Time flies. Martina's Bass Boomer. And we're gonna do Outer Alchemy. Couldn't even run Wix. Wix is fucking retarded. It was terrible. Saturday, February 22nd, we're going to do Etiquette. Alright, got it. Sorted. Cool. Fucking Wix. Yeah, but Wix is retarded because, like, I'm doing everything right, but, like, sometimes things don't click on different computers. Different things don't click, and it's like, but then they work on other devices or computers or on the phone, or as I have the laptop, I have the Mac, Windows laptop, and then I have the Mac desktop, and then I have my iPhone, and it's like various functions work on certain devices and various functions don't work on certain devices, and it's just like, Wix, what is your problem? Ugh, get your shit together. Wix is going to shit. Anyway, I am out of here, so I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Love you all.